All right, guys, welcome to another coronavirus talk with Gene and Brian. What's up?
Hello. Not
Hello,
too much.
hello.
All right,
How you
so we
doing?
got some new people here, and we're going to be talking about the coronavirus. So, anyone open to talk? The floor is yours. So, Gene, do you have anything, any
Hmm.
new updates or anything about the corona?
Well, I heard that for the coronavirus, I heard that there's been some new developments with with the trying to remember. Oh, there were some elderly people who were stuck inside their homes, who were doing social distancing, and I read an article that said that 5 people died inside their homes. Um, Apparently from self isolation taken to the extreme because people were because they were so self isolated and people never really checked on them and they ended up dying from isolation.
All right, yeah. So, I wanted to mention something. I was reading a bunch of articles, something about contact tracing. So, basically, it's like they can trace where people have been going, and like they can trace like, oh, did the person that you passed by had the virus? Like they can like track people that have the virus and stuff. Like you can actually download an app on your phone that can track where the COVID-19 is. Like it can track actual people who were tested positive. Like
Well, that's a new thing.
there was an article of this lady that was at Walmart, not our Walmart, but like a certain Walmart in the U.S. and she had a like a her hair cut down, and she got like a mail saying that like one of the persons the haircut was tested positive, and they're tracking people that were tested positive for the virus.
I'm
Okay,
kind of upset because I kind of need a haircut. I kind of needed one before the whole quarantine started, and I kept putting it off. And then they're like, "All right, now no one can leave the home unless it's to buy groceries." And I'm like, "Oh,
okay. I never heard of that. To be honest with you, I haven't had the app.
You can
Um,
look at it's only work on Android though. So the article was basically saying contact tracing. So like they basically trace people who were tested positive for convict. They have like special like people for it. Like they hire like computer science majors or specialists like, to do it on their computer. It's kind of like hacking people's profile if they're like they can actually search for like their medical records or something.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Isn't that considered like a breach of privacy or something?
Yeah, it's kind of like
yeah."
FBI, but it's like they just search like your previous medical records and they can like see like who's been where if they were tested positive.
That's an interesting
Well,
thing.
I mean, I know medical records, especially, are under lock and chain pretty well.
Mm. That means that they can bypass someone's records without even getting their permission. They can just like hack into their phone or hack into whatever they have, and then just access it, and then take their personal information.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if that's something that's going on right now. Probably during the first few cases when they were very urgently trying to track the spread, situation was a bit different. But now that it's in every county and you don't really know who has it, um, that's not something that they would be likely to continue doing.
Yeah, I can understand the need for it. Despite what's of course, it's important for everybody to know, for the authorities to know, you know, who might not know that they are might be asymptomatic, but then there might be others who might have come down with it. So, of course, everybody needs to know this information, but I think it could be done in a more, instead of having like having computer scientists and to access people's information through this app. It's probably better for them to do it in a more transparent manner.
Yeah.
So, because I don't think
it's crazy. I don't even know if like an actual app can like actually track convict unless it's like made really professional.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of hesitant to believe anything unless you can like show me a link with all the details.
Yeah. So changing the topic a little bit. So I read an article saying that there's ways that can make like a person like get better from the COVID-19. Like there was an article saying that it said that doctors are finding that placing the sickest coronavirus patients on their stomachs, called prone positioning, helps increase the amount of oxygen that's getting into their lungs. So I didn't know like how that even possible, but it's actually there were reports of some patients, like at least 10 or 20, that did get better from it.
If they're lying on their stomach, you said?
Yeah, it's called prone positioning. It's like putting patients on their stomachs, and it helps increase the amount of oxygen that they're getting in their lungs. I didn't believe it at first, but like it's legit actually. That there were reports saying that, oh, we had 10 patients that got better doing that.
Well, I feel like it's something with like an anecdote of 10 people isn't really too convincing. I know there's a lot of false information going around also that's pretty harmful. I think the CDC had put out like a YouTube video addressing some of like the false cures people have put, or rumors. I think there was one about like hair dryers can kill the coronavirus because it's so warm, and that's obviously not true.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of misinformation being spread around.
Yeah, I agree. I think people should double check the information, to see if it's true or not, and also check the sources of where the information comes from, so that way they'll know if it's true or not, and keep themselves informed, because I think there's a lot of people out there who are really trying to take advantage of the coronavirus pandemic, and they're trying to make a buck or two off of it. That's right. They're really trying to make a fortune out of people's misfortunes.
No, they definitely are. I mean, back when the hoarding started and people were trying to sell hand sanitizer.
Yeah. So the article that was said that So the article was CNN Health, so I'm not sure if it's real. Like, I didn't believe it at first, but like there was a lot of like articles about it. CNN, I don't know if it's like have like true information. It can be fake, but CNN is more like in China. I think CNN is like a familiar company in China.
You said CNN, not like the American CNN, but a Chinese CNN.
CNN breaking U.S. and world news. So it's like CNN Health.
Okay.
And it actually shows like videos of like patients lying on their stomachs.
And that's in China.
It's in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I guess you could give them the credit.
I first I saw it was like fake news, but like they actually show videos of like patients like on their like stomach and stuff. Like,
well, I mean you can.
I guess it's probably a test.
Show pictures of people on their stomach, and
no one knows.
That doesn't always prove anything.
They tested it. I'm not sure.
I think that's something you have to discuss with a medical professional.
Yeah, I'd be really hesitant at this point to believe any information that's not coming from the CDC or the WHO or any of the authorities like that.
Yeah,
just because there's so much bad information going around that's not just incorrect but can be harmful.
yeah. And then also, it's probably a good idea to speak with somebody who's a doctor, respiratory doctor. Someone who's professional.
Yeah.
So ask them for more information about that to know if what the CNN news is saying is true or not. If it is true, then that's probably something that would help people who have coronavirus. Because if someone is laying on their back, it might be harder for them to breathe, as opposed to them being on their stomach. So I don't know. That's something that we have to have possibly another discussion you can do, like with a professional. So,
all right, I gotta ask you guys too. So Gene, you probably remember me mentioning about walking dogs and like the coronavirus might be affected on like the roads and you have to clean your dog's feet, right? Do you think the coronavirus can spread in animals too, like cats and dogs?
I don't think. Maybe it could, but right now it's a virus that's mutated from bats, from animals to humans. So I remember reading an article that said that coronavirus can affect other animals, but for the most part, I don't think that the coronavirus would affect cats and dogs as much. It would affect. It can affect if it mutates to dogs and cats.
Actually, I had seen an article. I'm going to try to find it about it. It was a zoo, and there was a confirmed case of coronavirus spreading to a tiger at the zoo from a asymptomatic handler.
Yeah, and I also found an article too. It was
I'm gonna try to link it in chat now.
It's mostly like about SARS. Like SARS is a well-known disease in China. It was a long time ago. I think it's like one of their worst disease, SARS. And they came up with the name SARS-CoV-2. Said they can hijack animal cells, so like animals have like protein cells, and it's also known as ACE2, which is present in many species of animals, which is like Brian said, tigers and lions. And they're saying that this virus can inject itself to these like animal cells.
I guess the virus can go to anything. It can go to cats and dogs, and tigers and lions, and human beings. It can go to any animal.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure about any animal because I know different strains are.
I think it's just anyone in the cat family, like lions and like cats, dogs.
I'm really not sure about that. I really don't want to say any information that I'm not 100% sure of.
Yeah, me too. So
it's just opinions It's just opinions, to be honest. Like we're not necessarily sure. It's just like what we think. Like I think it's just cats. So but anyone in the cat family.
Yeah, I think that's probably something you have to research more.
I think even medical professionals at this point, are still unsure of how it spread, of all the details of how it can spread. I think that at the beginning they had only assumed that it was spreading from the Wuhan market to people, and it was not person-to-person transmission. And so when it became known that it was person-to-person transmission, that was also a very big deal.
Yeah, there were a lot of scientists doing tests, and someone said that the main reason why the coronavirus has been spreading is because of, in China, of course, and then China has been eating like weird stuff, and they said the main reason is because of the disease in the horseshoe Chinese bats. Like, the disease was originally from the Chinese horseshoe bats. I never seen what they look like. All you see is a bat, though. But I've seen pictures of Chinese people eating bats in soup, so I'm guessing that's what it is.
From what I understand, the virus, it was a strain that had come from bats, but I think it's believed that it was transmitted to pangolins, which were then found in the marketplace in Wuhan.
Yeah, they said that the coronavirus also came from snakes.
Yeah.
So and it came from the Wuhan market, which is they actually have animals there, a lot of exotic animals from all over the world. So they have animals that are from Africa and other places, and so
not anymore. They don't though.
Yeah, and I read an article, and it was from a newspaper in Africa. I think it was from Uganda or Kenya, and they said that they isolated it, and they said that the coronavirus strain came from one of the African bats in Africa. I think it was a fruit bat or something, and so it seems like the poachers who capture these bats and send them to China, where they're put on the wet markets over there. And honestly, China, these wet markets are not only in China, they're all over Asia. So they have these open markets all over the place, and not only in China but Vietnam and Cambodia, Laos. It's all over the place. So people come and buy fresh meat.
Whether it came from pangolins or snakes or bats, I do believe that China has recently gotten much more strict about not allowing like wild exotic animals to be purchased for eating.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, there might
It's
be
a
people,
little too late.
yeah, but there might be people out there who will use it, who like criminal gangs who still operate, who still use, who are
That's
just.
I think a lot of what it even was before, because a lot of exotic animals like pangolins are threatened as a species, and so they are protected. But even so, there can be loophole. I've read that. I'm not sure of the article, but I've read that there was loopholes that could get around that, like selling the animals as pets, or at least they claim as pets, but obviously they were going to be used for food.
Mm.
So I'm sure it's not going to be completely eliminated.
Yeah, it's just the way the world works. There are gonna be people out there who want exotic animals. There's always gonna be people out there, and they don't understand the risks of getting these exotic animals. They're better off in the wild than they are in someone's house. So,
Or in someone's stomach.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not only animals that get infected by the virus. It's also like fruits and vegetables. Remember what I told you about?
Well, they can be contaminated. I don't think they'd be infected the same way as a person is.
Remember I told you about that article, Gene, about like washing the foods once you buy them.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I didn't ask my mom where she got the article. I think it's from Hong Kong, but like they're saying that the fruits and vegetables kind of carry the coronavirus. Like you have to like wait.
Well,
anything
you touch,
you eat it, and then you wash it with hot water or something.
Well, anything that you touch, whether it's something that's like a fruit or a vegetable, or something like a gas pump, anything that your hands come in contact with probably could carry the virus, or if it was something in public.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's not that that like fruits and vegetables can carry it in the same way that people or animals can. It's just that it's on the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and another thing is that people, when they get the fruits and vegetables, they never think about washing the fruits and vegetables. At our time when we buy fruits and vegetables, we well, I know that in America, you know, I know a lot of people buy fruits and vegetables. They don't wash the fruits and vegetables, or they don't think about it. They just take it and eat the food, and so but they never think about where the food has been, who's touched it, what kind of germs it has. There's a lot of germs that are in the fruits and vegetables when you don't clean them properly, and
It's just like me and Brian been working at Walmart for a while, and my question is now that it's quarantine, of course Walmart's gonna have workers. Like there's probably gonna be car pushers, and there's gonna be people working. Like how do you think like Walmart's dealing with the virus right now? That people are working, you have to touch like everything, like
Well,
gloves and stuff. And then I heard an article like several like employees, like Walmart employees, had to be sent home because they actually were were having trouble to breathe and they were forced to go home. Like, what do you think they were? How do you think they're dealing with this?
well, I was at Walmart about a week ago for groceries, actually, and at least here, there did seem to be at least some good common sense going on. There's a bunch of signs up that say, stay 6 feet away from each other. They had tried to implement something so that you'd go through grocery aisles in only one direction, so it wouldn't get congested. So they have been taking precautions, but I think that it's not going to be. There's no real way to completely prevent it.
Yeah, I think
It's a place where people gather. It's a place where people need to gather. It's where groceries are distributed to the community.
yeah, like imagine car pushing the recycling machine. Like I figured that they just go through like hundreds of like gloves, like because no one's gonna use their personal gloves to like push cars. That's just one thing.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say about Walmart. You know, I too went Walmart. My wife and I, we went to Walmart, and we did notice that they put up the signs and everything. They put up tape on the ground with stickers. They say this is how far 6 feet apart is. You need to be this long apart, this far apart from people. But some people pay attention. Some people didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
Some people were too close to you. Some people were kind of kept the distance. You know, it all depends on people's awareness of where they are, and some people. It depends on the person really, but they have to make sure that they're keeping their distance. As far as the what you were talking about, Jeff, with I think Walmart's at least tried to have the social distancing thing there in place. We don't know if it works or not, but it's working, for them in some ways. I can imagine that it's kind of tough for the workers at their level, and for management they have to figure it out also. So yeah.
And although I have to say about employees being sent home because they're experiencing symptoms, I do think it's a bad reflection of our current economic situation, where a lot of people really can't afford to miss work, if they need the money.
Yeah, same with
And they don't have enough sick leave
too. There was a news article about a guy that said he wanted to go to a college in the city, but it's like a lot of students are complaining about they have to like refund their like dormitory money and their like your meal stuff and like your tuition money. So it's like he said, maybe I should have like applied to a college in a town area instead of cities, because cities are on lockdown.
Yeah.
And then people are complaining about not getting tuition money, like not getting money back from their tuition. I think like if you get like fired or like not get your tuition back from like colleges and stuff, I think you can go to the government for money or something. You have to sign something.
Yeah, it might vary between colleges a bit. I don't think there are any, or I hope there aren't any colleges that would just cancel classes altogether. and not offer an alternative or a refund of some sort. I've heard some colleges are making at least this semester easier and not affecting the GPA as much by like making courses into pass-fail courses. So if not being on campus affected your grade point or your grade for the class, it wouldn't have an impact on your GPA, things like that. And obviously, I can attest to it. A lot of classes have gone online now, which I think is good.
Yeah. Gene, what do you think of the school situation?
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, the situation with the tuition. If people, I kind of read that there are people who are receiving tuition reimbursement for their for colleges. So if they pay the money for it, they should be given the money back. And I said at the same time they should be allowed to continue with their classes. And move forward. I mean, as everything's online nowadays, but online education has always been a growing thing in America. But now it's growing exponentially because of the coronavirus. So people can stay home now. Not at their home, they just stay home and do their work. And then after they do the work, they have the rest of the day to take care of whatever they need to do. So I think, but at the same time, if they're doing like it also makes it a little harder for some people because it can also become frustrating because for some people they might have a lot more work to do. They have to do like a lot of papers, a lot of writing, a lot of other stuff to deal with. So they have to stay home and do the work. So it also makes it challenging too, even though it might help them. It might work out. So there are some pros.
So Gene, I did mention this to you. So about like people going to the movies and like now that quarantine has started, people aren't going out too often. Do you think? Of course, this is affecting the economy. Do you think, like, let's give Crossgate for example, the Regal Simmons or like with the people staying at home, not going out too often. Do you think like there could be a possible way like there are going to be certain like stores that shut down because they're not getting enough money?
I think yes, it would shut down businesses. I mean, they are saying that we are facing a recession because we're already in the second quarter of the year, and if the second quarter shows that we have that people are not going out and buying stuff, then that means that yes, businesses are going to be affected. And if the second quarter is bad, the third quarter is also going to be bad. So
it's like because a lot of employees, of course, on the news saying a lot of employees are being let go and go to the government for money. Some business might shut down because of that because they don't have enough employees unless they rehire.
Yeah.
Well, my personal take on this is most businesses obviously they're going to see a loss in profits that they'll make, but while the expected money that they would make is going to obviously sharply go down because of the coronavirus. Once everything blows over, those businesses are still going to be there. The stores are still going to be there. The people that are most affected are the ones that are going to be losing employment for especially the next few months. I haven't seen the most recent numbers, but it was something like over 10 million new unemployed. And I think that's much more of a concern for our country.
Yeah, I think so too. Because it's not only us in New York, but there's a lot of people, the whole country that's affected. It's really the whole world too.
Yeah.
Look at it, but America, for us here in America, we're Americans, and it's tough. It's tough for us to face the reality that yes, we're going to be, we'll have to lose a job, we'll be let go of, we'll be laid off, and that's happened to a lot of people, 10 million people. So I obviously people will have to adapt to the new circumstances. Maybe if the job comes back, they probably hire them. So we just have to see how it goes. But maybe this might be an innovation for the movie theaters, because maybe the movie theaters might do like a virtual movie theater thing, where they might offer some services to have the services that people pay online, and then people can watch the movies for a price per month or something like that, like a Netflix.
That's what I was thinking too. Like, why not having the business online, like Regal Simmons, and just showing like the movie online? And I think a lot of drive-through movies are in. Like, it's where you drive your car and then you sit on your car to watch a movie.
Oh yeah,
I think that's the safest thing that you can do, unless there's a car next to you. But I think that's the safest if you wanted to go see a movie in public.
That's true, but I still think the safest thing to do is probably just hold off on seeing new movies for the time being. But drive-ins probably aren't actually very high risk.
Yeah, I think so too.
Although, I mean, there's still a lot of people together, and you have to get public bathrooms and such. It's still not what I would say is safe.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing too. There's they would think the people have been thinking about that. For Easter, the people were thinking about having Easter celebrations, like not at home, but they were thinking of doing a drive-in Easter celebration where people would do that thing. And there have been some people who did that for Easter, but they maintained the social distancing thing. But they didn't. But I think for movie theaters now, I can understand that there's still the risk of people catching the coronavirus, because cars are together. Even though people are in their cars, if someone has a window down, that if someone sneezes or whatever, or you don't know what's going to happen, or someone is walking by, or it's not going to spread from person to person, but it might spread to if someone touches their car, if someone is touching their car and they touch the same spot, it's possible coronavirus could spread. So drive-in movie theaters might not work. The best thing people can do right now is watch it from home at the moment.
I mean, not for nothing. If this coronavirus, were to have hit 10, 15 years ago, we wouldn't have had Netflix and Hulu and broadband internet and all the things we have now to deal with not being able to go out.
Yeah.
So, silver lining, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There was a news saying that there was the first person in the U.S. that ever got vaccine, like did an experimental coronavirus vaccine, and he said it's not. He said it isn't risky until it's made public. Like he said he basically says he doesn't know if it works or not. So.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff being tried.
Like the drug that was tested for Malgreen, whatever the drug was called, the disease was called.
Hydrochloroquine, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a drug that you said that was an anti-malarial drug that's used to treat malaria, right? That's effective for malaria.
I have heard about that, but I've seen a lot of skeptical responses to that also.
Yeah.
Like I was saying before, I'm hesitant to believe any sort of information that comes from news sources or other sources that are not strictly like the WHO or the CDC authorities on the matter.
Yeah, I think so too, because I know that President Trump has been saying that hydrochloroquine, use this. But the thing is, we don't know what kind of. We know that there are side effects that come with this drug, and they say that it's like a miracle drug that's gonna treat the coronavirus, but it might treat it, but it's not gonna cure it. You know, so
I'm not even sure if it'll treat it,
yeah.
or
I-
if it's worth the risks. From what I understand, it's not a very safe drug in the first place.
Yeah, it's better. It's better used for malaria treatment to treat malaria. 'Cause malaria is more common in actually malaria is all over the world. You know, you could have malaria outbreak, and here it's not at the summertime. Malaria could come in the summer. It could come. It breaks out all over the place. You know, and
It's basically like finding a cure for cancer.
it's gonna take a while before we get a chance before we actually get that cure for coronavirus. Because I read an article somewhere that said that there were 3 strands of coronavirus. 3. So there's this one that we're having in North America, but there are 2 others that are different. There's one strand that's affecting Europe, and then there's another the other strand that's affecting Asia. And so, the virus is mutating in its own way, and because of the climate of the regions, where it is, and we don't know how long this is going to go on for, because the coronavirus is really similar to what happened back in 1918 with the Spanish flu, and it was worse. It was way worse back in 1918 than it was, today.
Gene, do you think the flu that happened I think the swine flu happened in 2009? Do you think that was maybe the second worst in the U.S.?
I don't think it's not as bad as this.
Yeah, of course. But so the shot, I end up getting a nose shot. So basically, what that is, I don't know if I would say it's a shot, but basically they put like weird somethings up my nose, or you can get like the regular shot. So I'm curious, like what you guys got, the one up the nose or just a regular shot, like the arm.
Okay.
I mean,
I
I
never got a
sometimes
shot.
get the flu shot, but that's about it.
Yeah, they put so the second
And
one.
I mean, obviously, all the
You can either get like the one
vaccines
that
you get
hurts
as a
on your
child.
arm, or you can get the one that's a weird feeling up your nose. I don't know what the name of it.
I'm really not sure what you're referring to be honest.
Yeah, well, I honestly, I never take the flu shot every year because I think I have a healthy body. I try to keep myself. I try to eat healthy. I try to, I actually can't take vaccines because I think I have an allergic reaction or something. So I know for myself, I never take the flu shots. I have taken shots for like meningitis,
Yeah.
but I haven't really taken any shots for the flu. I do know that flu.
So
Yeah.
I guess if you go to China, you're required to have 4 shots. I went to China in 2017. I had to get 4 shots, and it was hurting hell.
What were those 4 shots?
So the first one was like one of them was actually based on Corona, I think. The first one was just in case I feel sick from like eating the food that they are serving on the street. If I get sick or anything like that. And then the other ones were like for the air, like China has really bad air, and and then the shot will help me, like I don't know if it's true, like it just I guess it just is for breathing or something, but
I'll be honest, I'm really not sure what you're referring to right now.
it's if you go overseas, you're required to have shots. That's what I'm talking about. And then it's crazy because I just heard from my grandfather that like there were evidence of the COVID-19 in the air, in the city. Like that's what my grandmother told me, and then he's saying that on the Chinese news there were evidence of the COVID-19 on surfaces, like hospital surfaces, in local hospitals.
Well, I mean, it is very transmittable, or not, that's not the word.
Transmitted.
Yeah, it is easily transmitted. It spreads quickly. I think previous things that we were worried about, like you're saying, swine flu, proved not to be as large of a threat because of the difficulty of spreading. But this is definitely one that can spread very easily.
Yeah, because there's multiple ways that this can. I watched a video from Japan. The Japanese did a study on this, so they said that the Japanese said that when someone sneezes, that the virus, you can actually see 1 centimeter of the stuff that comes out of a person's nose, but then it goes from a centimeter to a millimeter, and then after that, it's still in the air. Right, it doesn't disappear. It's still there. So when it disappears, it actually turns into aerosol. It disappears into dust particles, and then it goes up to the ceiling. So when somebody is entered this room, they inhale it into their body, and it's just crazy, because if somebody is in a room with no windows, then that person can catch it. Or if somebody and then it will linger in the air for like 5 days or something like that, and it can get on surfaces, and it will be there for a long period of time, or on clothes or anything. Thank goodness that this is not as bad as like Ebola, because if this was an Ebola pandemic, you would not be able to go anywhere.
Yes.
Because you can't be near people. And it transferred by touch,
Yeah, so another crazy thing I want to talk about is when the first coronavirus struck in the U.S., it affected the West Coast, right? So California, right? Washington, right? So right now, the worst state to have the coronavirus, the state that has the most cases in the U.S. right now is New York, with 202,365 cases. So my question is, how
Confirmed
in
cases.
New York, confirmed. So
New
my
York
question
City.
is, how did the coronavirus go from the West Coast all the way to the East and make the East worse? So, like, shouldn't the West
It's
be
not
worse
that
than
it
the
came.
East?
It's not that it's just came from that one cluster, though. There were scattered cases in several places, I believe, and
Yeah, New York City had a cruise ship that got docked, and a lot of people got quarantined. Yeah.
well, I mean, there were a couple of cruise ships that were confirmed to have it. There were a couple individual cases that had gotten
like most of the East
picked
Coast,
out,
like
but
most of the East Coast got affected, of course, and the West got affected first. So I thought maybe the West would like get more, but like it's like New York at 1, New Jersey at 2, Massachusetts at 3, Michigan at 4, Pennsylvania at 5.
Well, some of the early clusters, some of the early cases, because of how rare it was, I guess, they were able to track it and contain it fairly well for those first cases that had popped up. But as more and more cases did pop up, and we saw a spike in early March, then once it hits somewhere that it can't really be contained, then it's, as we've seen, and if say you got one person infected that happened to go to New York City, and there's not a lot of personal space, there's a lot of public area, public transportation, then it can really just spread without control. And I think that's why we've seen the cases hit those places harder first, and other places will, I'm sure, be affected. It's just going to be a slower transmission, and it'll be a while before we have the same percentage of numbers as other areas.
Yeah. There's a there's one place that only have one death.
That's not funny.
No, it's just one. I mean, like it's just crazy how many like states got affected like so much, and then only one person died. Like just one
Well,
state. That's it.
I have to say, all these charts and everything, these are confirmed cases and reported cases, not necessarily the total number of actual cases. Testing is still not easy to come by. Some places aren't able to test a lot. I think here, if it's the same as it was a few weeks ago, there's only like 1 or 2 areas that have drive-in testing.
This is
and
Fox News published 11 hours ago. This is 10 states with the most COVID-19 cases.
Well, what I'm saying is they only know, you can only know so much. I mean, China says that they have the situation completely under control and that there's no more new cases, and I'll be honest, that's not
my
really.
My grandfather told me that people are still wearing masks. There's scientists making tests saying that, there's some hospital with a certain like coronavirus on the surface. Yeah, I get that.
I think that after listening to what you guys are saying, that the coronavirus I think the coronavirus is still present in China because Chinese businesses have suffered a lot of losses.
Oh, definitely.
And right now, countries are pulling their businesses out of China. Japan just announced it's pulling its 1.2 billion businesses out of China. A lot of countries are starting to they don't trust China anymore, so they're pulling their businesses out of China. And Chinese people. The Chinese government is now discriminating Africans. They're kicking Africans out of their apartments and places because they think that they brought the coronavirus to China, but obviously that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
Doesn't Africa only have like 3 cases or 5? How many does even Africa have?
As I was saying, it's hard to tell how many confirmed cases there are when testing is not widely available.
Yeah, it's not that readily available, but from watching the I watched some of the news articles, like the news channels from Africa, and they're saying that there are cases on the rise there, but it's not as much as it is in the Western world. So, like if you actually listen and watch the African news channels, you can see that it's on the rise. Some people are dying there, but people are not being as much affected as people are in the in Europe and America. And another thing, when the coronavirus broke out in China, before the Chinese government started shutting down the airports and stuff, a lot of people fled China. A lot of people fled. It said there's estimated that they didn't give the exact numbers, but they said that the estimated could be like 1.5 million people fled, left. They just left China, and so that's why you have this worldwide pandemic, because all those infected people left China. They left Wuhan. They left Hubei. Some people fled to North Korea. People fled to South Korea. They said a friend of mine in Korea, South Korea. I contacted that person. She told me that they had 700,000 Chinese people that were being treated in South Korea or something like that. And so, but now South Korea has gotten under control, and Chinese people
had one of our early clusters.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I have to ask for more information. Well, she told me that there were people who fled from China to South Korea because they're close by each other, and so it's easy to catch a flight from China to South Korea.
Italy by first is probably the second worst after the U.S.
Yeah, because I remember reading another article that said that the a lot of Chinese people have businesses in Italy, and there's a Chinese population there. So there are people who fled from China to Italy, and then there's all of a sudden you have this population, this disease explosion because they're going to a different culture, and Italian culture is very different from Chinese culture. they have different, people touch a lot. People touch a lot in Italy, and they don't do that a lot in China. And so they like to hug, they like to stay close to the family members. That's why they see there's such a huge jump in deaths in Italy and Spain, and also in Spain there's also that problem. So that's why we see all this these cases all over in Europe. It's just it's crazy.
Yeah,
So
is there anything that you guys were wanting to do, but the coronavirus like ruined it for you? Like for me, it's gonna probably be canceling my professional sports, and then in March I had a trip to Washington D.C. I was supposed to go to.
I personally haven't had anything major. Really, the only way it mostly affected me was some of my college classes were transitioned to online. But as a computer science student, even that was not really too big of an impact on my life compared to what a lot of other people are facing.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's crazy because I have a friend who's taking classes. His professor has no idea how Blackboard works. This is not Hudson
Yeah.
Valley. And every student would have to like email their homework to the professor. I can't imagine what that would be.
that must be crazy. Because I mean, for myself, I haven't really had any big travel plans to go anywhere, or do anything. Like you, Jeff. I know that for myself. Well, I was thinking. I know for my work has been affected because I'm a teacher. So I'm a professional teacher. So I know for my work, I've been out of work for a month. So I know that at first the schools they shut down. They said that the schools are closed until further notice. So I have not lost my job. My job has just been postponed until further notice. Until and also my agency. The agency has been postponed until further notice until it's time for everything to go. Until they give the okay. But
Yeah, so it's crazy for me because I worked from like 8 a.m. to like 4 on a regular job basic. So it's like when I have to go drive to SUNY IT and stuff. But now I have to work from home. So my professor is like, do you have any classes that were moved to online? I said, no, it's always been online. And he said, oh, certain days you can work on your homework, but you still have to work from home. So basically, sometimes it's like, so today I worked from like 7. I worked today from like 7 o'clock to like 1ish. So, and then some days it's like a regular job day, like it's like my regular time, which is like 8 to like 4. So sometimes I start working in the afternoon. So it's like switched, so I have time for my schoolwork.
okay,
Plus, it's like I have my own like desktop at like work, so I have to like be able to log into my like New York State like stuff. So like I asked my not my professor, what the heck, my supervisor, sorry. I had to ask my supervisor and boss like how can I access my New York State stuff at home, and so you have to get this thing called VMware Horizon Client, which is the New York State thing that you can log into, and it's like, oh, I have to get like a RSA passcode. So like the RSA passcode will allow you to go into this Horizon client. So it's like, yeah, I'll set it up, and then for now on, I can be able to go in with and then log into my New York State stuff. So like, if I
okay,
didn't have all this stuff, like I wouldn't be able to work online. I still get emails, and then I still get like projects. I still have to attend WebEx meetings. It's like insane.
okay. Yeah, I just wanted to add that a lot of the teachers have to stay home and do work from home. So like teachers have to stay home. Like they had kind of like they had to do like the students and teachers have to stay home and they work from home. So the students and teachers work directly together, and they have to do like video conferencing and all that stuff, video conferencing classes, and I know for me, I can't do that because I'm not a professional and I'm not a licensed teacher. But the licensed teachers have to work with their students, and that's what they're doing. And what they did recently for New York State at least, they canceled the state testing so all the students don't have to do state testing anymore. So
What?
it seems like when the school year resumes, that they're talking right now about about holding students back because some students are not attending the online classes because they don't have access to computers, and so but I guess that's all over all over the U.S. But they're talking about like suspending or just not having school, like the school year until this thing goes back to normal, so that they can resume school.
Oh, I thought you meant like students making an excuse saying, "Oh, I don't have a computer. I'm not doing this."
Well, because not everybody has access to computers.
That's
Some kids have to go to the library to access the computers, but the libraries are closed now. But they might not have Wi-Fi or computer at home. So,
or even if they do have a computer at home, they might need to share it with their family. So if they
Yeah.
were to both have class at the same time, both need to do assignments, and I could see how that would be a problem that you wouldn't expect.
yeah, and on top of that, the families might come from different socioeconomic backgrounds. So the families might not be making enough money to
Financial aid. Yeah.
financial aid. They may not have. Some students might come from one parent homes. Not everybody.
I think I remember there was this program at like Plattsburgh or Hudson Valley. It's like a program where like once you pay your tuition, the government can give you a little money. I don't remember is that financial aid? I think there was something else like
Yeah.
that.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's financial aid. I'm pretty sure it was not. It's something else. I'm not sure. It's just like if you don't have enough for tuition, the government can help you pay a little bit.
Yeah. I think I remember that back in the day. That they had that back in the day.
I know New York State. I know my workplace does a program like that. New York State. I think it's called like New York. I think I mentioned it to
New
you,
York
like-
State definitely did. Actually, it does have a pretty cool sort of financial aid program that they're doing. I'm gonna try to find the name.
I think it was like an ELG or something. I don't. It starts with an E or something. It's Hudson Valley or something.
Yeah. But that's what's happening on the elementary, middle school, high school level. College will be different, but that's what's happening for those levels.
It's crazy because you have to like. I know some professors have to have their like students on like WebEx or whatever communication thing like Zoom. You said Zoom is really bad, but people still use it, and
It's really popular.
yeah. But I heard saying that maybe it got hacked or something. I don't remember what you said, but my professor told me that.
There are security issues
What were
that
you
Zoom
saying?
has. There are security issues that Zoom has that they don't address, but people can find ways to work around them. But the hackers can still get into Zoom, steal the people's personal data, and put it up for sale on the dark web. Because that's what happens. So
Yeah, and,
Going back a little bit, this isn't really coronavirus related, but this is the New York State tuition thing that I was thinking. I'm going to link it in chat. I think not a lot of people know about it, but I think it's kind of important, so I wanted to post it.
yes, I think so.
Yeah.
The Excelsior Scholarship program they're doing.
Yeah, I saw something like that as well too. I think that's what I was talking about.
I think we can include that in the description box, so you can, follow up on that information.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like I said, it was crazy because a lot of students have to like webcam or like video chat their professors, and like it's crazy because some people probably can't access computers too, so that's been a problem.
Although I have to say one thing that kind of
unless they write up like a lecture class or something.
Although I have to say one thing that kind of frustrates me is it seems like the government kind of downplayed it. Especially, I don't really want to make this too political, but the concern that America should have for it seems like it had gotten kind of downplayed the weeks leading up to the quarantine. And I think because of that, a lot of people weren't really prepared for having to either work from home or attend classes from home or things of that nature.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that are you talking about the federal government or the state government?
I guess mostly federal.
Yeah, I believe the federal government could have acted faster, and it could have if they had been on the ball. I mean, yes, banning travel to China, that's good. Let's gotta follow up on that.
But not just that, but I feel like there wasn't really a lot of information about how severe it was going to be until it actually hit. That's what kind of upset me, because if people knew that they were going to possibly not be able to leave their house for a month or two, then they would have to account for that for their education and employment, then employers could have had more time to prepare work at home options, things of that nature.
Yeah, I think so too. Because there's information out there that the federal government knew about this before it even happened. So you could have taken the time to get prepared for it, just like before, ahead of time. But I think they just sat on they took their time with it, and now it's a situation developed into the way it is now. But like in Taiwan, that's what they did. Taiwan, we recognized, wait a minute, there's something going on in China that's not too good, and so they recognized that that something has to be done. So they took the precautionary measure before it even happened to start the testing, to let people know this is what's going on, and started limiting the amount of visitors from China and all that stuff. And now Taiwan is doing really well, and also South Korea is doing really well. And but I think that the Taiwan is more familiar with China and the tactics that China uses than the United States. So I think that at first we weren't really thinking about that. The federal government wasn't really thinking about that in that manner. So we were kind of, I would say, gullible or naive in our thinking.
I mean, I know when all this first started, not the lockdowns and everything, but just learning about coronavirus and the cases that first occurred in Wuhan. Personally, I thought it wasn't going to be as large of an issue as it was. It feels like every few years there's a potential scare. There was Ebola, the swine flu, in recent memory. I thought that this was just okay. Let's be careful. Maybe everyone washed their hands, but it's probably not going to be coming to our neighborhood. It's just something you see bad on the news, and so that was definitely a shock for after the government hadn't really warned us at all that it was likely to be spreading, and then suddenly.
I never saw on this day that I would see videos of people fighting over toilet paper.
Right?
Yeah, but what's the deal with that? I mean,
people don't.
Let's talk about.
There's no correlation between COVID and.
It's obvious that people don't want to wipe their shit with their hands.
It's like, did people not buy soap and toilet paper before the pandemic? Do they not use them?
Yeah.
Suddenly, there's a demand.
let's talk about that. The
What
toilet
is there to
paper.
talk about? Is obviously why they want toilet paper, so they don't have to wipe their ass with their hands.
Yeah, but I mean, there's always been enough toilet paper for our community, from what I understand, right? Am I with everyone here?
Yeah, there was.
Has anyone ever noticed any counties or cities that have just had a severe shortage of toilet paper, where they were rationing it before the pandemic? No.
No, toilet paper was free to all
I
of
mean,
us.
it's so
Now
serious. I had to watch a video
It
of
doesn't
a
make
woman
sense.
fighting over a toilet paper, and then one woman had to draw a gun.
Wow.
I don't think she had to
That's
draw
messed up.
them.
That's just comical. It's at the same. It's sad, but at the same time, it's comical.
People are fighting. People have been fighting over bleach too. I don't understand that. I guess you have to watch.
Well, bleach
too.
kills bad stuff.
Yeah,
That's a cleaning product. So
Just imagine-
I could kind of understand the want for that. Obviously, you shouldn't hoard it, but I can at least understand people saying, okay, yeah, I want to make sure I have enough bleach and hand sanitizer and soap and water for the the weeks to come.
Imagine people
at the
fighting
same time-
over food.
There should still be enough for everyone, and the people that were hoarding things like medical gloves, the surgical masks, and the hand sanitizer, and trying to make a profit off those. I think that was to hear that was so widespread. It was kind of disheartening.
Oh,
Yeah, I think that- I think that's wrong. That's something that nobody should ever do, ever, especially in times like these.
Yeah, like toilet paper, it's kind of funny in a way, but medical supplies, that's just you're trying to make a buck, trying to sell life-saving stuff.
yeah. People are also fighting over video games. Like really.
Oh, we've always done that.
Yeah,
That was a joke.
I also want to ask you guys about. Have you noticed a lot of like presidential candidates are like dropping out? Do you think it's because of this like virus?
No, I think that kind of always happens around this time.
I think Joe Biden. I think dropped out, and then I think
No. Joe Biden is the
No.
primary candidate. He hasn't dropped out.
I think
was it
Bernie had
Bernie
dropped.
Sanders
Bernie had
then?
dropped out.
was it Bernie or Joe?
I think it was
Bernie.
Bernie. I'll look it up now.
Bernie
And then
dropped
the
out.
New York City mayor that was running dropped out. I was surprised. I actually liked him a little bit, but like I didn't think he was gonna drop out.
Well, now he's running the city now, which is a good thing.
Yeah. But like,
And that's exactly what New York City
like
needs.
in your own opinion, do you think that the reason why a lot of people are like dropping out is because of this virus? That's just insane. How many people are like,
No. The Democratic primary has been going on for the past year. It's been it's now 2020. It's been going on
yeah,
for
I know
2
that,
years.
but like the people now,
So-
like during this like virus, do you think they're
Yeah.
dropping
No,
because of this
I don't
virus?
know. I don't think the coronavirus has nothing to do with the Democratic primary session because the coronavirus just happened last year in December, last year in November. And people were already voting. The Democrats were already getting their votes together about who they want to have running against President Trump and the Republicans. So, honestly, the coronavirus doesn't really affect it might affect the way people vote, but it's not really going to affect. It hasn't had an effect
It's
on.
just like how sad it is because people are staying home, right?
Well,
how
I
are
think
the
that-
supporters are going to go to the rallies and stuff?
Yeah, I think that last election was more of a big deal than usual because of Bernie Sanders was fairly non-traditional for the Democratic Party, and so that was sort of large. And we knew President Obama was not going to be able to run another term, so there was very fierce competition. President Trump obviously was making his presidential campaign at the time,
Yeah, everyone thought Hillary
causing
Clinton,
headlines all the
everyone,
time.
Everyone
And
thought
so I
Hillary
think
Clinton was gonna win, but the comeback was real.
Yeah, everybody thought he was gonna. Everybody thought Hillary Clinton was gonna win because because she won in all the best states. Everybody thought that was, and I was like Florida, that was like New York, Oregon, and but she never got a foothold in the Midwest. Everybody. It seems like everybody forgot that. Everybody forgot that she never got a foothold.
We made history
Midwest.
either both ways. Like Trump, first
No.
billionaire president, and then if Hillary became president, first woman president. So
I know, but the thing is,
Hillary Clinton actually won the popular vote, didn't she?
She did, yeah. She won the popular vote, but she lost the electoral college, and but that's not the first time that's happened in history.
No.
I think someone else, I forget who it is, but there were other people who won the popular vote, but they lost the electoral college.
Yes.
And Trump lost the popular vote, but he won the electoral college. So it's not the first time that it's happened. And people are saying out there that we should abolish the electoral college because it's not fair, blah blah blah. But guess what? That's not how things run in this country. It's not the most popular person who runs. It's always the person who says the things that makes the most sense who wins.
yeah, when John McCain and Barack Obama faced off in the presidential debate, I had to write an essay for history class on the third one.
So what did you say about that?
I don't remember. I can't even remember my middle school essay.
Oh, okay. I was in high school.
I remember my homework was like, watch the president debate, the third presidential debate tonight, and write a 3-page essay or something like that.
Yeah. But
I didn't mind it.
that,
I mean, like I watched the first two on my own, so I didn't really mind the assignment.
yeah, I think that the Democrats getting behind Joe Biden is something that's probably not going to work out for them. You know what I'm saying? Because
I think it's probably going to be Trump versus Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders.
No, Bernie dropped out.
Oh, I meant to say Biden probably, but
Bernie dropped out and he gave his support to Biden.
Yeah, and I believe I just saw something when I was Googling it just now that former President Barack Obama had also endorsed Joe Biden. Let me see if I can find it. I wouldn't be surprised. So.
Article that said that he did. Yeah. But I was gonna say that the President Trump won the 2016 election because of his base. His base helped him win he ran in the Midwest, where there are a lot of evangelical voters. So he won because of the evangelical voters. And some of you guys might disagree with me on this, but but I think that he won because he got the biggest base in the United States, the biggest voting bloc. So, his strength with this voting bloc is still going strong. Even now in 2020. So we don't know. I don't know if Joe Biden is going to do well, in this year. Honestly, I think Bernie Sanders should have won the 2016. He should have had that in 2016. But now it's 2020. He hasn't done too well.
I kind of feel like
people say like wait, shit, go ahead.
I almost feel like in 2016 a lot of people, actually including me, weren't really expecting Donald Trump to go as far as he did. We thought it was more of a publicity stunt, and that was why Bernie Sanders, who is not particularly I guess an exact representation of what a lot of people in the Democratic Party believe, was able to get a lot of ground. But I think the Democratic Party this election, was very concerned about Trump returning to office in the following year, which is why they wanted to go with a more traditional candidate of Joe Biden.
Hmm. I remember Biden saying that he wanted to fight Trump physically, like punch him in the face. So hopefully we don't.
I think a lot of people do at this point in time.
Yeah, I want to punch.
Hopefully we don't see some WWE boxing match. You know, like it's on HBO. Like hopefully we don't see that. Like hopefully it's just a war of words. I think that Biden
Wait,
doesn't.
taxes, pay-per-view, see Donald Trump in a ring.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't
Trump
think Biden
actually,
likes Trump.
Trump
Like
actually
Biden.
been to the WWE. It was like a WrestleMania
Yeah.
23, and then he had like a wrestler fight for him, and then fight for another wrestler against like Vince McMahon, and then like the wrestlers, whoever lost gets their head shaved.
Oh man, I
You can
still
look it up
remember
on
that
YouTube.
match.
It's WrestleMania 23.
I know I've seen like
Yeah, I remember it. You know, that was just messed up.
Yeah, maybe we should have a match, Gene. Whoever gets their head shaved.
Oh, of course, yes, of course, we should have like.
Well, actually, do you have hair?
do I?
No, Gene.
Do I have like what?
We should all have like a head shaved or something.
I have gotten my head shaved before, but that was a while ago.
So you're like, and then you just decided to start a life of a Chinese monk.
Like I was saying at the beginning, I'm kind of concerned because I can't get a haircut in the near future. So I was thinking I might try to just get a pair of clippers or something and give myself a buzz cut, do the best I can. It's probably not going to turn out very well.
That's another thing, though. I wonder how people are coping with because of coronavirus. We can't go to the barbers, right? So, what are people doing? I know for you, Brian. What are you doing to cut your hair? And Jeff, what are you doing? Yeah, I have my own
My
clippers.
mom cuts my hair for me.
Your mom cuts your hair, okay?
Yeah, she is.
Usually I go quite a
barbershop.
while. So usually I kind of go quite a while anyway without getting my hair cut. So it'll probably just be a little longer than usual this
So,
time.
yeah, that's
I
probably
might
why
try
he
to
doesn't want put
do a
his,
little myself.
face cam on because it's probably gonna look like a girl.
Yeah,
You
it's
just-
not that long. It's getting there though.
Just get a conditioner, Brian. Just put some shampoo in there, wash it, just make it look good.
Oh, I keep it clean. It's just it's a lot of work to keep it clean and pretty.
Can't
You
your
know.
parents cut it for you?
I mean, I'm sure they could, but usually what I do is I just get it done with the clippers anyway. So I could probably do maybe not as pretty myself, but not too much different.
No.
Maybe just have someone touch up the back.
Yeah. I know my.
No, this is what you do, right? This is what you do. Call Walmart. Ask someone to come to your house and cut your hair for you.
I gotta say, I've gotten haircuts at the Walmart barbershop before,
Actually,
and
there's
I don't have
actually,
very high expectations for haircuts, but I don't go to Walmart anymore for
There's
haircuts.
actually a company that does that. Like they'll like come to your house and give you a haircut.
I'm not sure if those would still be operating.
I do remember watching a video about a guy in Germany. He started his own barbershop van business. So he how he did it? He made the van into a barbershop. So so he had a chair in the middle. It's like a
Wait. Did you say like a van, like a minivan?
a minivan, like a minivan barbershop business.
Are you
Yeah.
sure
So he
he
would
wasn't-
run
Are you sure
around.
he wasn't just a pedophile?
No,
No, they were adult chairs.
a real person cutting hair, not a pedophile. A real person who started his own van business
Just,
cutting hair in Germany. It's real.
just be careful. Some people with vans are pretty suspect.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. But
Like,
this
what would
guy,
you do? Like, if someone comes up to you and say, "Hey, kid, you want candy? Come into my van." Would you go or not?
no, I wouldn't. No, no.
Well,
You
first of
have
all,
to-
I'm not a kid. Second of all, I'll buy my own candy.
I buy my own candy. Exactly.
Funny story is like when I was working at Walmart with Ryan, he wasn't there. It was a night session. I was working, and then there was this ice cream truck like hidden in the shadows, and then there was this big black shadow like moving back and forth in the ice cream truck, and then I saw him like staring at me, and I was freaking out.
Well,
That's-
you were probably staring at him first.
No,
You're like, what's this
Yeah,
guy doing looking at my truck?
Hot. And burning.
You burned it up.
It's hot. I just took them out.
You let it burn.
What's burning?
I'm sorry.
No
I
worries.
got some
Okay, no,
muffins.
I forgot those in the oven for the other one.
I'm sorry,
Gene,
guys.
Is your wife daydreaming cooking?
No,
I was in class.
just got some muffins. Ow. But the muffins are burned badly.
Mm.
We're gonna have to edit this part out, but the muffins are burned badly.
I'm not editing it out. I want my viewers to see you eat muffins.
Oops. Ow, really? Face it. Oh,
So, Jeff, have you done any more cooking than usual at home since we can't really go out to eat?
Yeah, I cooked my own a little bit. Yeah, I made some fried rice. I made some Chinese
Nice.
dishes.
Well, I think that's one of the possible positives that are coming out of this. People probably are.
Gene,
more
did you
stuff like
replace
that.
your toilet yet?
What?
Did you replace your toilet yet?
No.
Didn't you say that you needed to replace it or something?
I think I did. I don't remember.
Alright, I think this video's gone for like 2 hours. Is there anything else you guys want to say?
Nothing really comes to mind.
Nothing else.
Alright, then I'm gonna end it then.
All right.
All right. Well, it was good being on the show with you.
Yes. Good talk.
I want to say this is a show. We're not on TV unless I stream it.
Yes. Good talk. Well,